everybody! So I'm doing a session. It's a 30-minute psychic wisdom session. This is for Sarah. And I'm going to just read you quick what her goals are for this. She says that she's interested in any wisdom or guidance that my guides have to offer. So, wisdom from guides. I love this. I'm just going to relax here. Sarah, thank you so much for your open-mindedness, for your willingness to share this experience openly for others to learn. I have a feeling your guides are going to have some really cool messages, and they might touch other people's hearts as well. I have a feeling it's going to touch my heart too. Okay, I'm just going to relax, and I'm going to get started with your session now. So I'm just continuing to relax here. I'm just relaxing my spiritual atmosphere. I'm connected to my guides and my higher self. I'm welcoming your spirit guides and your higher self to share a message of wisdom with you today. Wisdom that will change your life. They're showing me everything feels at a distance, and as much as I want to see instantly positive things, it's a complicated image and it's at a distance. So I'm actually going to draw you the shape. Here are the walls, and then it kind of comes down. It's a circular space. The walls are kind of like the silly silo at like an Adventureland or something. But they're rounded walls, and then we have like a rounded cone shape that comes down. So here's the walls, and then there's a cone shape, and then I don't know if this is open at the bottom or what this is. It's a room. I'm gravitating toward the room. I'm never allowed to enter into it, although I feel like I'm inside, or my consciousness is more closely connected. The space gets more detailed. I can't describe what are the walls made out of. Strips of leather with golden buttons, one here at the top and at the bottom. There's just strips of leather all the way around. I can't explain what the shape is or why. It seems like an open floor because we have the cone that goes downward, but there's somehow an invisible floor. And there's like a very formal desk levitating here on the invisible floor. There are tall men standing. They're ornately dressed. They look like you could say maybe a few hundred years ago. They have very pronounced mustaches. They look very intelligent, scholar-like. This one in particular, I keep looking at this one in particular. He has a really thick mustache, and it comes out a little bit on the sides. It's almost like it blends into what could be like facial hair that goes here, but he would shave it up there and down there. It's very formal. It's very clean. It's very high class. I'm still yet disappointed. I still find this space to be disappointing. The reason why is because you can't have a room that has no ground. You have no ground to stand on, is what I keep saying. How could you have a desk? The desk is not, it couldn't actually exist just floating in thin air. You have to have ground to stand on. I feel like this place is starting to fill up with what would be bookshelves full of books of all different colored bindings. Everything about this room is it's circulating, and I'm starting to get more and more irritated. I'm not even allowed to enter into the room. I'm only allowed to sort of see it from the distance. I keep thinking of what are we have for instance like the Declaration of Independence. You have these extraordinary men in history who are interacting and sharing ideas about what is the best way to move forward with this country. And so they're all dressed very similarly, like Benjamin Franklin. And, there's something about the way that they're dressed and the way that they're expressing themselves as very intellectual minds in a very proper space. But again, there's something out of balance about this. I'm not allowed to enter into their space, but they also have no ground to stand on. So it doesn't matter how they dress. It doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't even matter if they're intelligent or not. Because there's something still out of balance with the way things are here. I hear a message. What would make you feel better about this space, Abby? For one, if it would not be so secretive or closed off, it needs to be opened up to the world. In fact, let's just get rid of these walls. I find that the fancy pants manner of it is just like a costume party. It's not really showing us what matters most. It's showing us what we perceive to be important, which is how you dress, how smart or not smart you are. But maybe if you look smart, that would be good enough. This whole room I'm starting to spin. It's spinning me around and around. The Silly Silo, I believe that's what it's called. It's one of those, you could go to like an Adventureland place, an amusement park, and it spins around so fast and the floor drops out, and then everybody, it spins around so fast that everybody is stuck to the wall, and we're like, it's going so fast that you can't feel your feet because there's no floor, and you're stuck to the wall going really, really fast, round and round and round and round. That's what this is doing to me. It's making me feel like my head is spinning round and round and there's no floor to stand on, and it's just disorienting. It's very emotionally aggravating as well. Very emotionally aggravating. They're saying, but it is not for you, Sarah. It is not for you to be participating in that. It is not for you to be in that room. It's not for you to wear those clothes or those glasses, to have that mustache. It's not for you to be those people. They show me you could be like window shopping. You could walk by and there's a window. Oh, there's some very important people, right? It's not for you to be in that room. It's not for you. It is not your purpose. So if you spend the rest of your life with your head spinning, thinking about what they're doing and how that's making you feel, it's not your purpose to have anything to do with that anyway. So it's time to find your purpose elsewhere. And they're asking you to turn around and walk away from that. It's going to get you nowhere. It's going to be in the silly silo for you, as long as you want to be in the silly silo. But your head's just going to spin around and round and round. There's going to be no ground to stand on. Eventually, you have got to separate your mind, which is also bringing in your emotions, from this. It's time to turn around and walk away. Okay, this is very hard to turn around and walk away from this. Very hard to. It's creating an energy block going on, and it has to do with they show me that this scene with these men in this room here, we're gonna put the scene into two. Like you can imagine it, like a page. Like you open the book and we have 2 pages. All right. So here they are on one side, and then over here is something else. They're not showing me what the other thing is, but it has to do with an energy block, and it's about mind or perception of things. But it also is entangling into like the heart or emotional gut region too. So what is on the other side of the page? I'm asked to walk forward into the blank page and see what is there. There's no more looking at that other scene, because that was the old news, and now we're stepping into what is something we don't even know yet. New perception and new news, new writing, new wisdom, new messages. That's old messages. That's old writing. Those are old ideas. And now we're about new ideas, new writing, new messages. And it's about you too. Because you're not meant to wear those fancy pants, and you're not meant to have that prestigious look about you that says you're smart. You're a very smart person because you look smart. No, that is like the old way. There's something about this that keeps over and over again. That's the old way, and that is not you. You are meant to be the new way, and the new way is who you are. They show me images of the new way, and I see. I was introduced to this song, something Appalachia. It's a band. The band has something like Appalachia in the name, and it's Medicine Woman or Medicine Man. It's a really good song. I really liked it. Well, the artists, there's two girls, and they're very hippie-esque, and you can tell they had dreads and piercings, but the message is exquisite, absolutely beautiful, and it totally brings an earthy essence to the vibe, and it's so spiritual and kind of has like a Native American style feel to it, and so spirited and so sweet and so feminine, and it's enriching. It's enriching music. It's enriching message. It's healing. It's actually healing music, and it helps remind us of who we are as people, as souls. Because when I watched this music video, I was seeing them not just as they are today, but as souls with a journey and a history that brings them to this place where they can express that history in a new way through music and through the way they look and how they want to express their physical appearance too. And it's wise. What is that? This band here, this beautiful music that they're sharing, have anything to do with the propriety of yesteryear and the smart mannerisms and the intelligence of all of that. But there's a different type of intelligence we're looking at here. And it comes from the heart and the spirit and the soul. And that is the value. That is far more valuable. And they're wanting you to turn the page now. They have more to say to you. These next two pages are also blank. This experience here, I feel like I want to see the writing on the page, but I can't see the writing on the page. And part of the message is you aren't going to see it because the writing on the page manifests when you actively participate in the experience. So you live your life for 5 years, and now you have the story to tell. This story is what took place over the last 5 years of your life. So the story hasn't manifested yet because you haven't experienced it yet. They are encouraging you to actively participate in that which is the story of your life. But it feels like there's some sort of message or some message gift that you are meant to share with the world even. It's not really loud though. It's not saying that specifically, but it's bringing in images of important people or people making a difference in the world, and they're intertwining that with you as somebody making a difference in this world, but yet we're still looking at the blank pages and asking the questions, well, where's the writing on the page? You are it. Your life is it. Your experiences are it. So there's nothing symbolic. There's no specific sign. You're supposed to follow your heart, and your heart will lead you to that story, will lead you to the writing on the page. You're a really clever person. But yet you feel sort of stuck. You're wanting to know something very specific, some specific detail. I can feel you're stuck in your heart. There's just a stuck energy in your heart. And you really want an activity or an activation of something to happen out there that will inspire your heart to get to be moving or expressing itself. So you're waiting for an event to take place out there that will then activate your heart. So that's what we're looking at right now. There's a beautiful, there's what is dark purple color? Energy. And it's moving energy, it's living energy, it's riveting. I love this dark purple color. Sometimes purple, this has nothing to do with Usui Reiki, because Reiki works with a violet flame, but this dark purple color does not remind me of violet flame. I don't know why, but I'm inspired to tell you this. It has to do with scholarly wisdom. It has to do with higher intelligence, higher thinking. They show me another room. This is of a higher vibration, but the shape is the same. But they show me there's more to this shape than I originally perceived. I saw the shape as being the rounded room and then this cone on the bottom, but they show me the cone also exists on the top too. So what is below is also above, upright cone, and then sort of downright cone, and then a rounded room. So it creates a shape, right? It's a rounded shape with 2 points, a point that goes up and a point that goes down. It looks like a fancy elevator. There's a little bit of energy shifting going on. I'm just channeling the message here, but I'm feeling an energy shift, so I have to allow it to process through me, and then I can tell you more. I keep hearing that they're playing this song, The Medicine Woman, Medicine Man. It's a beautiful song. I'm hearing it playing for me as I look into this purple room, and I feel there's luxury or something exquisite about it, but it's just the echo or the shadow of what was, and it hasn't actually been filled with new meaning yet, because it would exist in a future time, so to speak. The new meaning exists there, but there's a fog because we don't know all the details clearly, because the event has not happened yet. They say that the event it exists in multiple dimensions, multiple versions of itself, okay? And they're showing me that the version that has not been fully grafted, it's idealized. There's something that it is known what it's going to look like, but not everything is perfectly clear yet, because there's so much going on. There's so many variables integrating into this future date and time. It's foggy in there, but I'm not somebody who lives by the illusion that perception, that for me, okay, I'm just going to pause for a minute. I'm not going to say anything about this right now. I just want to relax, and I want to keep experiencing what they're saying. They are using these choice words. They're showing it to me in this specific way. They're explaining that it is foggy for these specific reasons. They're showing me there are so many, you could say, toothpicks in a container. There's so many toothpicks in a container, and each toothpick has its own personality, its own destiny, and its own pathway. And so all these toothpicks can be inside of a single container, but in their illusionary world, which is the physical reality, they're exploring their heart or their soul's gravitated or magnetically moving decision making. And so the toothpicks they're not even moving. They're in a jar full of toothpicks. But yet I see simultaneously every toothpick is like a person that is living their own life. And this toothpick happens to live over here as an energy body. And this one happens to live over here. This one happens to live over here. And this happens to live over here and here and here and here and here. But yet they've not gone anywhere. They're still in the same toothpick jar because they're all in the oneness. But their consciousness is exploring different things. Is consciousness a physical thing, or is it an energetic thing? Consciousness is energy. That's how I'm doing this reading in the first place, is I'm projecting my consciousness around and learning things about you, and I'm sharing consciousness interactions with your spirit guides to you, etc. So they're saying that all of these integrated experiences, which this toothpick happens to be working with green right now, this toothpick happens to be working with orange, this one's working with purple, this one's red, blue, all these different colors that they're working with and exploring within their own soul experience, and they're bringing that information, echoing it back to the one consciousness. So the one consciousness is translating all this information into a glorious symphony of what is destiny, so to speak. And so this room here is the future of all of this compilation of stuff. And there's so much of it. On the human level, we couldn't even begin to try to fathom this. On the spirit level, way easier, way freaking easier. It's not complicated or hard stuff. But they can explore what is the energy totality and have a definitive answer of what that future looks like, even if there's trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of strands of information. No problem, no problem. But that looks foggy to me. They're smiling, everything is in the balance, and everything is at peace. They open what is the space, but it's like a glass window. It's circular. It's opening a glass window for me to try to go into it. Again, everything feels so far away and at a distance. This is very aggravating because I'm really trying to document this. I'm really trying to write something down, but I can't even perceive the language. I can't even perceive the phenomenon. I can't perceive the message. So it's all blank pages. Everything is going to pause for a moment. I can feel they're telling me to take an energetic pause from everything. So I'm just going to wait for a minute. There is a message for you about yourself, something about you that you haven't seen, about what you're capable of. As in, can the event be you? Can you be the event? It's not actually something to happen out there and then we just hope it impacts us and then bam, we just wake up or something happens. Perhaps you are the event. Perhaps you activate the event within yourself by participating in an experience that opens up your soul. You're one of the toothpicks as well, gravitating to your own experience. You're one of the variables that then works with the collective consciousness to create what it looks like, whatever it is going to look like on the inside of this. Everything in your spiritual atmosphere, it stops. Like, it's a ping pong, it's a pinball game where you want to hear all the clinks and the clanks and the lights going and the buzzers and the bells, but it's just sort of like boring and it's not thrilling and it's not livelihood and it feels stale and empty. And again, it's an energy block. It's an energy block here and it's an energy block in your heart but also in your emotions too. But you don't know the other side of who you are. You just know that you're a human being, but that's not who you are at all. Nobody's actually a human being. We think we're human beings, but we're not human beings. There you go. Write that one down. Everybody thinks they're a human being, but we're not actually human beings. Period. But why would that be? Question mark. What does this mean to me? If I'm not truly a human being, then who am I? And if I'm not a human being, then perhaps I don't have to live by the rules or the regulations of what it is to be human. Perhaps I can be an infinite consciousness instead of a finite consciousness. Perhaps I can connect to something more extraordinary than this. Perhaps I already have the ability to do that within myself by choice. By opening up my heart. You've got your heart is like really closed off, but what are you afraid of? Because to access what could be psychic gift or channeling gift or seeing the Akashic records or whatever you want to say about that, you have to use your heart to access that. You actually have to open your heart to access that. If you're starting at the beginning, it's like, well, what does any of this mean and what is that going to feel like? And now we're using our logical mind to make sense of a spiritual experience. It's not meant to be made sense of. It's meant to be felt. There is a huge question mark about you. There's a huge question mark in your own life. And you're really wanting answers, specific answers. But the answer, the hardest answer of all, is the one that it's about you. You changing something about your activity, how you're participating, because there's something you're not doing. And it has to do with opening your heart. I'm telling you, opening your heart is I still work on opening my heart. That is something that we all are working on. And you could say, well, I'm a really open person. I'm a really heartfelt person. Well, I'm telling you, you're not free in your heart. You're not, there's something about your heart that's not freely expressing itself. It's not freely breathing in and out of itself. It's not freely expressing itself. What can you do to feel more freedom of speech, freedom of self-expression? You have the wisdom, you have the library already inside of you. So do you feel like it's just supposed to poof, manifest out of a hat? Or perhaps you just share your story as best you understand it right now and allow that then to manifest new experiences? Because the more that you choose to share your heart in a heartfelt way, which is sharing your soul and expressing it, the more you're going to feel, the more you're going to feel ascended, the more the event actually takes place within you, and the more that you are doing what you came here to do, your higher purpose. I can't do any energy work here for you, but they're showing me a lot of things about your energy balance. They show me a version of yourself that, okay, there's a giant object and it's clasped around you like you're stuck inside of a book. This is made out of metal. It fits right around your head. It also looks like a massive book, but you're sort of the side of your face. If you just looked at the book, you'd be like, oh, there's the side of Sarah's face inside of a metal book, and it goes all the way down. So it's really clasped around your head, around your ability for self-expression, around down here, about to your heart. So we can see the side of you. There again, it echoes something of another time period. The profile, there's something about the profile of people's faces that even captured in history, some sort of distinguished look about that. So we're looking at your profile, and that is sort of encased in a book. But it's also an energy block too. But it's also saying something about you and your soul connection. I mean, there's something very smart about you. But there's also something very quiet, and it seems to... It wants to hear more than what it is hearing right now. I'm going to relax for a moment. I'm starting to do energy work on you. I'm trying to keep it focused on just channeling the wisdom here. I'm just going to allow it to happen, which this is just going to allow what is you feeling kind of closed up tight. This is just a little energy gift that they're encouraging me to share. It's just allowing this heavy metal being closed up tight in the inside. We only see the profile of you. This object is just starting to relax and sort of melt in a way. It's just sort of melting. And it's not hurting anything. It's just sort of in a state of evaporating or letting go of itself. So that we can actually see you for who you are. Are you stuck inside of a book? Are you like a total bookworm? Because this book stuff keeps coming up over and over again, and even echoes of you as a writer. But maybe the writing is a reflection of you as a deep thinker, a philosopher of thought, but not writing it down on the page because we have these empty pages. But there's something about your life where you need to have certain experiences still. You still haven't had certain experiences, and these experiences can be had when you choose to actively have them. I think the world is, a lot of us, it feel like something is supposed to happen, and when that happens, then everything just changes. But we forget that the most important ingredient to change is us. So for instance, you could go to meetup.com, look in your city, for other like-minded spiritual people, for instance, and then you just participate in a group gathering, and you share and you explore. But I'm really encouraging you to not just talk about stuff. How far has debate ever gotten the human race? Talking about things does not change things. Inventions change things. Teaching people changes people, right? So not just to talk about things, but somehow actively participating. I don't know. They keep showing me what is a group setting where you would be able to talk to like-minded people, and you would just bring it back and think about it, but you're not doing anything active with what you're aware of, with what you have thought about. You are not putting yourself out there as somebody who has deep wisdom or knowledge to share. I don't think that you would even call yourself a teacher, like a master teacher. Would you consider yourself to be a master teacher? Because kids are master teachers. Alcoholics are master teachers. Lawyers are master teachers. People who have done nothing but played video games their whole life are also master teachers. And we can share a story with each other that will change everybody's life. You know, I came to the realization after 20 years I've lost so many jobs because I just want to live my life playing video games. And this is what my life has been like. And I suddenly woke up and I said, I want to make a change. And for the first time, I'm going outside and doing things where I would spend 8 hours a day just in front of the computer screen. And now this is my story. I would not think any less of this person. In fact, I would be really incredibly supportive and extraordinarily blown away by their story. I love stories of the everyday person. I love stories of the everyday person because we're so like each other. We can relate to what everybody else is doing, as long as we aren't turning our nose up and being snotty about it, about what we think is right is the only thing that is right. I don't believe you're that type of person. I actually think you're somebody who would be a collector of the thought. I'm just going to do one more minute here, okay? One thing I can tell you, you got to open up, and I mean you got to start opening up. This important message is what happens when you choose to start opening up. And you get to decide on what level you want to do that in. Perhaps you just need to start by meeting some like-minded people and having a hot tea or a coffee and just sharing thoughts and experiences. But I'm telling you, there's something about your life journey that is more intricate than that. It has more of a gift to share than just meeting like-minded people. It's going to make a bigger impact than that. But that too is something that you have to accomplish. You have to create it, and the event is actually you choosing to do that. So that's the message for you. All right, Sarah, thank you for this very beautiful, very interesting experience. If you ever want me to do wisdom with energy work, I would encourage you to get like a journey healing and wisdom session, a soul rebirth journey session, even a mini journey healing and wisdom. You'd be amazed at what it feels like to have those energy blocks just dissolve and to have energy or breathing in and out of you. Wisdom is extremely essential. It gives us new perceptions and new ways of feeling and thinking within ourselves, and then it inspires change, which then alters the energy patterns, so it can open up blocks naturally just by you doing things differently. But I could also just go in there and really get you rebalanced energetically, and you would feel like it's a sunnier day, and you feel like you have more access to energy wisdom and access to your higher self and your soul energetically, because that stuff is feeling space. That stuff is freedom spaced. And it feels like you're open now. It feels like you are open. You wouldn't understand what that means until you actually felt that way. So you might be able to think about what that might be like, but until you actually feel that, you won't actually know. So it's the difference between the thought versus the experience, you know? So thank you again. I love you for wanting to share this. I get really excited. Not everybody wants to share, so it means a lot to me that you're open-minded to doing that. So thank you so much. And for those of you watching, if you're interested in exploring a psychic session with me, please visit me at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. I do sessions by private recorded video. Some people like to share on YouTube. I also do live sessions, so there's plenty of options out there. So thank you for watching. Thank you again, Sarah, and I wish you all a wonderful day.